Hey everyone, it's Miss Kelsey here. I'm so excited to get to tell you our Bible story today. Our character we're going to talk about today is Daniel. Now, just like last time I told the story, I'm going to be asking you some questions. And the question's going to come up on the screen and you're going to have some answers to choose from. And when you know the answer, I want you to shout out really loud, okay? Do you think you can do that for me? Now, our Bible character today, Daniel, lived on earth, just like all of the other Bible characters we talk about. He was here just like you and I are, except for he lived a long time ago. Where do you guys think that Daniel lived? Was it A, Las Vegas, B, right here in Broomfield, C, Babylon, or D, England? Nice job, everyone. He lived in Babylon, though it'd be pretty cool if he lived here in Broomfield, huh? Now, at the start of our story, something really fun and exciting was happening in Babylon. They had just gotten a brand new king. What do you guys think the king's name was? Was it A, Bert, B, Darius, C, Doug, or D, Horace? Nice job, everyone. His name was King Darius. Now, when Darius became king, he made a few changes to the kingdom. I'm going to appoint 120 officials to help me rule this kingdom. And they'll be there to make sure that all of the people follow my laws. Then, I'm going to pick 3 administrators. And those 3 people will be in charge of my officials. They're going to make sure the officials listen to everything I say. So here's how it was all laid out. You had all of the people from the kingdom. You had the 120 officials that King Darius appointed. Then the 3 administrators who were in charge of the officials, and then King Darius. One of the administrators that the king appointed was Daniel. Now, there's something different about Daniel than the other 2 administrators. What do you think that was? Was it A, he was a really good dancer, B, he took a lot of naps, C, he had pink hair, or D, he had a relationship with God? Right, he had a relationship with God, and that meant he kind of looked different than all of the administrators. He acted differently. And King Darius could tell that there was something different. And he saw that Daniel was really good at his job. In fact, he was so good at his job that the king was going to make him in charge of the entire kingdom. But the other administrators didn't really like that idea. They didn't want Daniel to be above them. So what they decided to do was they looked high and low to see if they could figure out anything that Daniel had done wrong. They thought that if they could catch Daniel doing something wrong, then they could go and tell King Darius about it, and the king would not promote Daniel. But they looked all over, they watched Daniel, and he didn't do anything wrong because he had a relationship with God, and he loved God and loved people. So they had to come up with a new plan. One thing that they noticed is that he was very devoted to God. He was so devoted, in fact, that he loved God more than King Darius. So that's where they found their plan at. They got a group of all of the officials and the administrators, and they went to talk to King Darius. What do you think the first thing was that they said to him? Was it A, may King Darius live forever? B, we want to watch SpongeBob. C, Luke, I am your father. Or D, can we have some ice cream? Nice job, everybody. They said, may King Darius live forever. You see, they were trying to put King Darius in a good mood. They thought that if he was happy, then he would be more likely to say yes to their plan. The other officials and I think that you should create a law, King Darius, where for 30 days no one can worship or pray to anybody except for you. Now, King Darius liked the idea of everybody praying and worshiping just him. Yes, I like the sound of that. It shall be done. This law was not very good for Daniel. Daniel loved God, and he would pray 3 times a day. Now, if he were to go home and pray, he could get thrown into the lion's den. He had a big choice to make. Would he continue his relationship with God and trust that he would take care of him, or stop his relationship with God and follow King Darius? Daniel knew that God was more powerful than King Darius, and even if it was going to risk his own life, he was going to continue his relationship with God and following him. And so he went home and he prayed like he always does. Dear Lord, please help me. I trust you and know that you have a plan for me. Now, of course, the administrators were spying on Daniel because they wanted to see when he was going to mess up. And once they saw Daniel praying, they went straight to the king. Your Majesty, didn't you make a law that said nobody could pray to anybody else but you? Yes, I have declared that as law, and it cannot be changed. You know that Daniel is ignoring your law. He prays to his God 3 times a day. Oh no, not Daniel. Daniel is such a good man, and I really like him. Isn't there anything I can do to change the law? Your Majesty, once you have your seal on the law, it cannot be changed. You must punish Daniel. So the king reluctantly gave the order to have Daniel arrested and thrown into the lion's den. But before he had him thrown in, he said to him, Daniel, may the God whom you serve rescue you. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, and King Darius went back to his palace, and that night he didn't sleep at all. He was so worried and anxious about what was going to happen to Daniel. And then the next morning, the moment that the light broke, he ran to the den to see what had happened. Daniel, has your God saved you? I'm okay, King Darius. May you live forever. My God sent an angel who shut the mouth of the lions. They didn't even touch me because I was found innocent in God's sight. The king was so full of joy when he saw that Daniel was okay. Daniel didn't even have 1 scratch on him. The king saw how powerful God was and how much Daniel loved his God and how God took care of him. He declared that everybody in the kingdom praise and worship Daniel's God and not King Darius. Pretty cool story, huh? Daniel chose to trust God instead of King Darius. Daniel knew that this may hurt him and things may not go well, but that God loved him and he was going to take care of him no matter what. Sometimes I struggle with trusting God, especially right now when things are scary and I don't understand what's happening. But that's why I love this story, because it reminds me that even when I don't understand, or even when things seem scary, that God has a plan and he's going to take care of me. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'll see you later.